Welcome to the first episode of Strange Waves, the podcast where we try to take a deeper look at the important and unimportant questions of life. I'm your host, Mallow, and today we have Ben the Priest with me here today.
I'm not a priest, I'm a seminarian.
What's the difference?
We can get into that.
Now, before we go any further, quick disclaimer, offensive material may be present, listen at your own risk. However, seeing as who the guest is today, I doubt that's really going to be too much of a problem, but still stating it just in case. Gotta stay away from all these risky copyright laws.
Yeah.
You can copyright for anything today, man. Like, right?
Yeah.
It's sad, really. Anywho. In other news, we'd like to thank the lovely music that you're hearing right now. It's, to properly advertise or, thank them. It is Chill by Sakura HS. On the channel Audio Library, Music for Content Creators. How kind of them. I actually went on their channel just on accident one day, and I found a lot of really good music on there. So if any of you guys are any aspiring content creators, I definitely recommend their channel for some music. Just don't forget to credit them in the comments, or not the comments, but the description. And I'd also like to thank one of my good friends, one of the best rappers that I know, Kid Curl, for his music at the end. I believe we're playing his very good song, Don't Pray For Me. Definitely check him out whenever you guys get the chance. He's got great stuff. Now, on to the next thing. Would you like to introduce yourself?
So yeah, as he said, my name is Ben Albanese, and I'm currently a Catholic seminarian. I'll be studying at Theological College in Washington, D.C. My education will occur at the Pontifical University, Catholic University. So I'm pretty happy about that and excited. I've just completed my second year of seminary, and I'm not a priest, as he said I was. I have 8 years to go. I wish it was close enough. So, plenty of people enter seminary and they come in and then they leave because, they're there to pray and discern and figure out, is it my calling to be a priest or not? And it's not something for the faint-of-hearted. So, but I believe that's my calling. So what I'm doing is I'm, discerning and praying and studying at seminary right now and, learning about how a priest lives and what a priest does. So that hopefully one day, God willing, I can be one. So, yeah, that's a little bit about me and my career and what I am.
Alright, cool beans. I'd like to ask a little bit more about you, though, if you don't mind.
No problem.
Let's see, I wrote down some questions so that way we can have an actual professional podcast.
Ah, yes.
Doubtful that that's going to happen because I feel like we're already off to a rough start. Also, I've been stuttering the past. How long? It's been 4 minutes. So that's fun, and we're not even halfway into it. Not even a quarter into it.
It'll be fine.
Yeah, if you say so. So first question. These are more general questions, just to kind of get to know you a little bit better than you kind of described.
Right.
This is a more personal question. How many years have we known each other? Because we've known each other for quite a while.
Since 6th grade, I think. God. We've known each other.
Was it 6th grade?
I remember meeting you in...
Yeah, because you were homeschooled up until...
I was homeschooled,
middle school.
Yeah. I was homeschooled until the second semester of 6th grade, and I came in at the second semester, and I knew some... I made a few friends, and then I made a friend who was also a friend of Josh's.
And then there was the fatal day where you met me.
Yeah, and I met you. And I remember it clearly. you were at a water fountain, and I saw you for
That
the first
did not
time.
happen. That was somebody else.
It was the most vivid experience I've ever had. And anyway, yeah, so I saw you at the water fountain. I was like, wow, that kid looks strange. Anyway, and then
to put it kindly.
And then the next day, not the next day, maybe like the next week or so, I realized he was friends with one of my friends, and we got to talking, and we just turned out to be really good friends, and now we're friends. I don't know who the other guy is or where he is now, so God bless him, but I don't know where he is.
Who's the other guy?
His name was Michael Farringer.
Oh, you know what? I think I do remember who you're talking about.
Yeah, he was a friend of yours in 6th grade, and I knew him.
I hate that I have such a terrible memory, dude. But if you're out there listening, sorry. We wish you the best.
God bless.
If you want to get back in touch with us, like, we're totally down, dude. Or at least I am.
Yeah.
So another question that I'm pretty sure you already answered, but how much longer do you have until you become a full-fledged priest?
8 years.
Oh,
so, yeah, there's like 3 degrees of, well, I'm trying to get ordained, what it is. And so there's 3 degrees of ordination. There's the diaconate, or, what you know as a deacon, and that comes first, so that'll be 7 years from now. I'll be a deacon for a year. And then finally at the end of my seminary, I'll become a priest. And then after that there's bishop, but, probably not going to happen to me, I guess. We'll see. It's a
good place to have in chess.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Although my personal favorite is the rook.
Rooks are nice.
I don't know. I just really enjoyed the rook, man.
Rooks they're simple. You know what they're gonna do, but they can do it well.
Yeah. Pawns come in a close second, and then queen is my third favorite.
Queen is like, she's a little bit too OP, but she.
Yeah, but there's only one of her.
Right. That's true. But yeah. Anyway. So 8 years.
Excuse me. I don't know if you guys can hear this, but I have my the fan on my laptop is going a little bit. I just turned that to silent so that if that is an issue, should be over in just a moment or two. So 8 years?
8 years.
8 years. What do you plan on doing on your off time from being a priest? Because you're gonna have off time, right?
I guess.
At some time?
I don't know, maybe. No, priests are very busy, and it's true. Even, they're human beings too, and they need vacations. So, I don't know, just normal stuff that, like vacations. I guess just like anyone else, visit family, friends. Yeah.
Fair enough. All right. So I guess this isn't the last time I'm seeing you.
No. You have 8 years.
Yay. So you know multiple languages, correct?
Sorta.
Just wanted to ask you about that because I thought that was pretty neat.
Yo entiendo español un poquito.
Ah, sí, bueno. Enchilada.
Etiam lingua latina.
Bonjour.
Yeah, I don't know much Latin, but I do. I could probably write it better than I can speak it.
So you know a little bit of Latin. You know quite a bit of Spanish, I believe.
It comes and goes. I have to use it if I'm I can say.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, but
you need practice. It's like riding a bike. If you don't do it, you just forget how.
I can still ride a bike, and I actually.
Well, you know what? Nobody asked you.
Okay, but yeah, you're right. Though it is, you have to practice it, or you forget.
Any other languages that I missed, or?
That's pretty much. I only understand English, completely. But
yeah.
I can figure out what's being said in Spanish if it's written. If it's spoken, that's a different thing. Because native speakers normally go really fast, and whenever you say "habla más despacio, por favor," it's just never slow enough. So.
So, that is all the kind of more, I guess, personalized questions I wanted to ask you. So now we can begin with going to the more I guess general questions is what you call it. Now, this isn't on my list of questions, but there has been some type of virus going around. I think you might be familiar with.
Yeah,
have you heard of
the corona?
Yeah, like the COVID.
COVID. Yeah, that's right.
COVID.
COVID-19.
Yeah, COVID-19. No, any thoughts on that? I know personally it's put a big wrench into a lot of my plans and a lot of stuff that I do and a lot of other people too.
Yeah, it's put a big wrench in my plans. We had to change our seminary to online.
Same with my school.
Yeah, so I just moved into the local priest's house nearby my church. And it was kind of like a makeshift seminary where, I would just do my classes online on Zoom. We got hacked a few times. It was really funny. Never read out the names of the hacker to the teacher. I learned that the hard way. Anyway, but yeah, I did put a monkey wrench in all my stuff. I wanted to stay at seminary because I very much like the schedule and, how close the chapel is, how everything's just kind of, there for you that you need for basic life, and you can then focus more on stuff like, your study and your research, and your prayer, and it makes it easier. But, and it happened at Lent, so it was kind of funny because I never expected to be giving up seminary for Lent. So, but I was. So yeah, and then it stopped a lot of other things, like, it stopped me from being able to see my friends when I came home because they were all, concerned.
Quarantined.
Yeah, they were concerned and they didn't want to be going out, and I totally understand that. So yeah.
I mean, it's just been recently that I've been, willing to kind of leave the house.
We can only stay locked up for so long. Our country's gonna die, so we have to do something.
And honestly, I don't think that it's as big a deal as they're making it out to be. It's definitely a big deal, like, don't get me wrong, but I just feel like we're seeing a lot of manipulation out there. And
yeah, I think I kind of agree with that. It seems like there's more going on.
I mean, definitely I think America and China are both kind of manipulating their statistics a lot. Like, I don't remember what exactly happened with China, but I think their death toll, quote unquote, went down like almost instantly. And people are saying, oh, it's because they're all okay again now. But chances are it's just because, they stopped, testing.
And which country wants to look bad?
Exactly. I mean,
the U.S. doesn't want to look bad either. Let's be clear about that.
Yeah. I mean, what was it? The U.S. and the Russians went into an entire war against who can get into space first.
Right.
It was Russia, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Sputnik.
Yeah, it wasn't a formal war, but it was definitely a lot of tension.
Yeah. It was more of a challenge than a war.
Right.
Which I can appreciate.
A challenge that people were terrified of.
Yeah.
Hiding under their desks, thinking that would save them from nuclear explosions.
It's like, okay, so we have to lose, but just this close. We can't make it look like we did it on purpose. No, it's been really tough,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, here's a good question. So all this talk about you wanting to become a priest, and you said hopefully become a bishop.
No, not hopefully. Maybe. Maybe. It could happen, but, there's plenty of other people. It's not going to be me. Let's be clear.
I don't know. What is a bishop exactly?
So, at churches you have, priests, and priests do, they offer the holy sacrifice of the Mass. They do the sacraments, the baptisms, all that stuff. And then over one parish, there's, a pastor, and he's the guy who's in charge. And there might be other priests who help out there and deacons, but they're all underneath the pastor. So that's at one particular parish church. Like if you just go to a random Catholic church, there has to be a pastor there, generally. But in the diocese, which is kind of like, I don't know, it might be similar to a state where you have a governor. So you have the mayor, of the town, and that's kind of like the parish priest. And then you have the governor of the state, and that would be kind of like the bishop of the diocese. So the bishop is basically just the pastor of a region of churches. So yeah.
Okay.
And even the Pope is technically a bishop. He's not something else other than a bishop.
He's just the head bishop.
He's the Bishop of Rome, and he does have authority over all the other dioceses and places. But yeah.
To respect his authority.
Yes, you do.
So is it something that's just given to you, or do you have to apply for it, or what?
Well, you mean ordination, or
like becoming a bishop? Is that like something that you have to spend another like 8 years achieving, or?
No, they typically. I mean, it depends basically on what is best for the diocese. So it isn't. Recently it's been more that the Pope just chooses someone to be the bishop of a diocese. But in the past it used to be synods would, or local gatherings of bishops would decide who would be the best bishop for a particular diocese. And it could work that way, or it could work the way where the Pope does it. But basically, if the Pope thinks that this would be the best person for the diocese, based on, we have someone called the nuncio, and he's like the representative in the United States, and so he, he studies up on the diocese, and he knows which is best, for which particular place, and so he'll send to the Pope recommendations that people have given, and that's how someone becomes a bishop. The Pope has to basically say, yeah, I think he should be chosen as a bishop, and then he'll be ordained. Or normally they just move a bishop from another place. So yeah.
Okay, so basically you just have to be on everybody's radar.
Right.
In like in a good manner of
right.
speaking, of
yes.
course. Okay. Which kind of brings me to the question: why did you decide to become a priest in the first place?
That's a long story because I wasn't always Catholic. First off, I grew up as a Protestant, and I had no intention of becoming a pastor. Because even when I started to get into my faith, it was somewhere around sophomore year. That's when I really cared, and I always believed, but it just wasn't the biggest thing on my radar. And then I started getting into, looking into, how do people critique the faith? How do I defend the faith? Why are there people who don't believe in God, and why do some people believe in Him? And so I started looking into it. And I spent a lot of time on forums talking with atheists and having dialogues with them. And then I, after a while, the arguments just kind of seemed overwhelming to me that there was indeed a God. And so I started talking with Muslims. And it was interesting, reading the Quran and reading other religious texts, other than the Bible. But, as I dialogued with Muslims, I really... no offense to any Muslims, but I just didn't see Islam as an option. So then I started looking into which church should I be a part of, because I was wondering, I've been to so many different churches in my life. Why do I, how do I know which one I should go to, and what is true Christian teaching? Because there's a lot of differences between, various Protestants. But the one thing that we kind of all agreed on was that the Roman Catholic Church was, this really bad institution that just kind of enslaved people into doing all these works and extra stuff and praying and worshiping, saints and statues and whatever. And we had like a very crude understanding of what Catholicism was. But then I started, and the Catholics I knew weren't the best examples either, because they didn't know anything in Scripture. They didn't know, how to defend against, typical Protestant critiques of Catholicism. So I started, looking for Catholics online. Now, the Catholics online were a lot different than the Catholics I knew in person.
I'd imagine a lot of in-person Catholics are just the people who, like, show up. They don't really, I guess, care too much about it. Like,
well, there's Catholics you know, there has to be Catholics somewhere that are in person that care because, you know, they're also on the internet.
I mean, yeah, but
there's, unfortunately,
It kind of reminds me of, like, whenever you go to church on, like, on Christmas or Easter or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, there's so many people here. There must be so many people who, you know, come here and stuff. Because, there was one year my biological dad forced me over, and it was just, hey, come on, man, you don't ever go. Why are you going to church on Easter?
Right, there's a lot of people who, you know, think that they're only supposed to go on, you know, Easter or Christmas, and that's it. And
I think it's all or nothing, you know?
Yeah, that's right, and that's what Jesus thinks, because he said, you know, you can't be, you must either be hot or cold, but I'm not going to accept the lukewarm. If you're lukewarm, you get spewed out of my mouth. And people like to characterize Jesus as if he's some kind of a, you know, hippie, nice person who's okay with everyone no matter what. And Jesus loves everyone, don't get me wrong. But he's very strict on, you know, what's right and what's wrong. And he has a very clear teaching. And he would always work with sinners, and he would always go out to them because he saw them as people who, you know, were sick and needed help. And there were other people who were, you know, the Pharisees, and you know, they didn't just go to synagogue on, you know, Passover and, you know, Hanukkah or whatever the Jewish equivalent is. They went, you know, every day they were there, and the way they would pray is they would pray like, oh, you know, Lord, thank you that I'm not like this terrible person over here. But Jesus didn't like them either, and the reason is because they were to represent him and they were to teach people, and yet they took their job as something to draw attention to themselves and not to God. So Jesus was very strict on, you know, he was strict on those who didn't care about God and, you know, didn't just wanted to live their life their own way. And he was strict on those who claimed to care about God, but were actually using that to bring attention to themselves. So I got into that. I got into thinking about the priesthood after I heard the arguments for Catholicism and from, you know, Catholics who practice their faith. And I found those people online. And, you know, I talked to a religious brother who is kind of like, it's kind of like, you know, what people think of as a monk, but he's not exactly a monk. Now he's a deacon, and he should be ordained this July to the priesthood, God willing. So, if I knew my stuff and I had studied, I didn't lose debates. And I'd studied, you know, lots of stuff about Catholicism and lots of stuff about Protestantism. And the more and more I was studying it, the more and more I liked it. And so I slowly became interested in the Catholic faith. And I remember praying to God, you know, because I went from believing that the Catholic Church was filled with, you know, people who worshipped statues, to believing that, you know, these were people who really, or, you know, the church really taught love of God and love of neighbor, and that it actually was in accord with the Bible upon closer inspection. But I'd also believed that the Pope was the Antichrist, and so I prayed. I said, Lord, I'm about this close to joining this church that I used to think was the Antichrist. But, you know, if it is, make me hate it. And I only loved it more. And my parents didn't understand because my dad had left the Catholic Church. And I'd wanted to be a Lutheran pastor when I started hearing about the teaching of the Eucharist. And the Eucharist is, honestly, it's a really strange belief, but it's really beautiful when you think about it. We believe that Jesus died on the cross for our sins, and that he left us a memorial of that sacrifice to where we can participate in it, and to where we can share in his own body and blood, which, you know, was crucified and also which rose again.
Oh, you mean the crackers?
Well, yeah, people will call them that. We call them wafers technically, but yeah. Yeah, we have, you know, bread and wine, and it's offered. And when the priest says, "This is my body," we believe it actually becomes Jesus Christ. And people drop their jaw and think, that's crazy. How can you believe that? And, you know, there's a lot of crazy things that we believe. But, you know, Jesus, even in the Gospels, when he said this, he said, "Unless you eat of the flesh of the Son of Man and drink his blood, you have no life in you." And his apostles were like, that's crazy. And everyone around him was like, that's crazy. And a lot of people left him because of that teaching. But even when Jesus said, "Are you going to leave me because of this teaching?" to the apostles, they said, "Well, you have the words of eternal life. Where are we going to go?" And that's Peter's way of saying, I don't understand, but, you know, I've seen you do all this stuff so far, and I trust that you have it. And the way Jesus gave us his very person was, in the shape of bread and wine, even though we don't believe it's actually that. So it's not like cannibalism, but we are really participating in, we're sharing in the body of Christ. We're becoming, a part of him in a sense, to the point to where he acts through us, and we still have our own free will. But we have to, we say yes to him, and he acts through us, and other people can experience, the love of Christ through him. So it's pretty amazing, and we become united to God, and that's our life, being, one with God. So I thought that to be really amazing, and that was different than just preaching. I wanted more than preaching. I wanted to do something else too. And so I became, when I was Lutheran, I decided I wanted to be a pastor, but I was slowly becoming Catholic, and I realized, I was thinking like, well, I don't really feel called to marriage. And I don't know why that is, because I'm 18, and every guy should feel called to marriage at that age, or
not marriage, but
they're called to live in
some sort of.
They're called to relationship with women.
Sort of relationship, yeah.
Yeah, and that's the church recognizes marriage as a good thing, because without marriage there's no priests, without marriage there's no religious brothers.
Well, could it be that you're just what's the word? Is it asexual or no? That's the. Yeah, basically that, but like for relationships. Could it just be that, or?
What is asexual?
I have no idea. It's like not liking not liking anybody, something like that.
I find women
completely...
attractive.
All right. Well,
I'm just simply not acting on it. And that's fine. Some people can. There's been many people in history who have, basically been celibate. And for the sake of the kingdom. And that doesn't mean they think, oh, marriage is wrong, or, I don't like women. But it's that, they're willing to give it up for a greater good. So, that's the way I look at it. And I think that, there's going to be, God will, he will make me happy. He will fulfill me. He will give me what I need. And ultimately, when we want relationship with people, it's because, even underneath, the feelings of, being with a woman or something, there's that desire to have, to not be alone, but to be with someone, to be living with someone. And that's the natural, yeah.
I'm so lonely.
Well, that's the natural way that we have that fulfilled. But we're not just natural creatures, we're supernatural. And so, we have a natural, what?
No, I said roll credits. No, I've been thinking about Supernatural like this whole time while you're talking.
Oh yeah, well,
because you said something about we let him into us, and then he does stuff on behalf of us, and stuff like that. Like exactly like angels and Supernatural.
Well, that's a good point, because we're sort of like, and I know we were talking this on the way here. We were talking about do animals have souls and whatnot, but humans have a natural end, which is to eat, sleep, reproduce, basically do what humans do. But then also we have a supernatural end. Bless you. To know, love, and serve God. And so, we can do all that natural stuff, but it's not the only thing that we have. We have, sort of a dual purpose to life. And so the way, a Catholic answers the question, what is the meaning of life? It's to know, love, and serve God and be happy with him forever in the next life. So I know that, I'm not alone. I don't feel lonely, being, without a girlfriend or anything. Plus, I have friends anyway, so, sometimes I wish I was a little more lonely, because people are, like, talking to me all the time, like, go away, alone time is good. You can be, I've heard some people say, you can be alone, but not lonely, and then other times you can be lonely, but not alone.
Yeah.
And that's very real.
I agree with that 100%.
Right. And we believe that God gives us the fulfillment that we're all looking for. We can't be fulfilled in other stuff. We can't be fulfilled in, we can't be fulfilled in our jobs. We can't be fulfilled in our relationships. We can't be fulfilled in, any other thing that we try to do on earth. But we can be fulfilled in following God, and eventually he will make us happy. So I believe that since it seems God has called me to this, this is the best thing for me to do. I could choose to, say, yeah, that's all fine and dandy, God, but I want to go get married. And, maybe I could even still serve God after I got married, but it wouldn't be the thing that he made me to do. And so it'd be like taking, I don't know, a screwdriver is made for, screwing in nails.
You mean screws?
Yes.
Because hammers and nails.
Right. Yeah. So you can use
screws and screws.
Right.
Which is screwdriver, screws, and screws. I don't know. It just sounds like too many of the same words.
Yeah. Well, a screwdriver is to the screws, and then hammers are to nails. Could you use a hammer to put in a screw? Yeah. I mean,
technically.
Yeah, you could. It wouldn't be as good at it though.
No.
So if I'm made to be.
No, that kind of makes me think of like you can bake cookies, but you can't cook cookies. But you can cook bacon, but you can't bake bacon.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So if I'm made to be a priest, I won't be as good of a husband, even if I think I will. And if I'm made to be a husband, I won't be a good priest. So that's why I'm praying, is this what you want me to do, Lord? And I think that, if I try to do something else, ultimately I won't be totally living up to what I'm called to my fullest potential. So that's why I'm considering the priesthood.
Neato.
That was a long answer, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, some things deserve long answers.
Mm-hmm.
Take that drink. You talked in a while. Deserve that quench of your thirst.
We sponsor Bubbly. No, I'm just kidding. Bubbly.
Speaking of sponsors, anybody wants to sponsor us, feel more than welcome to offer anything. We'll be looking for sponsors in the future. I don't exactly know how to do that. I just kind of assumed just kind of sat there and it would happen eventually. But I don't know.
You get a following, then you say, "Hey, you want to sponsor me?"
Hey Doritos, hey Mountain Dew, you guys wanna hit me up? We got I don't know, man. The blue stuff's the best. You got some Cool Ranch, you got some Voltage.
Yeah.
It's bomb. It's just, it goes together.
Maybe you can get what's the White Monster drink?
White Monster drink?
There is one. I don't know what it's called.
I don't know. I don't drink Monster.
I don't know. That's for people of a different age than I am.
Wait, no, I don't get it.
Never mind.
Okay.
Someone will get it.
Who's to say? So let's move on to another topic. Because you are a priest, but you have other interests.
I'm not a priest, but yes, I have other interests.
I mean, very few, but you have a couple.
Yeah, a couple.
Creepypasta, for example. Used to be.
Yeah.
In fact, I remember a lot of nights we would be hanging out, have some creepypasta going on the TV or on the computer or whatever. We would just go through one after the other creepypasta, and then get really scared because,
Were you really scared?
We were yeah, I was really scared.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I didn't know.
We were kids.
I just thought you just didn't want to watch anymore because they weren't scary.
And then whenever we were sitting on the couch, there's the hallway to the left.
Okay, that is freaky.
It's
but that's freaky without
a giant
creepypasta.
open space, and it's it's dark out, and it's somebody could be right around there, and I wouldn't even know.
That's true.
So yeah, it scared me.
I had no idea this entire time until now. I thought you were yeah, I'm just bored with these. That's the way I remember it.
I'm just very prone to being scared.
I did not know that at all. Yeah. I learned something new about it today.
I love horror. I can't watch it very easily.
Yeah.
Whenever I watch a horror movie, I'm always just scrunched up in my seat. I got my hands in front of my face, and I was oh, it's such a great movie. But yeah, that's what I was gonna ask. Whatever happened to your whole thing with creepypasta, man?
Well, it wasn't creepypasta so much as it was
just creepy stuff in general.
Yeah, scary stuff that makes you think and wonder. And here's the problem with creepypasta: it always has a resolve, and a lot of horror movies make this mistake too. They explain the monster, they explain its feelings, they go into the psychology of the monster, they tell you about the backstory about why the monster's mean.
It's because he's sad.
Yeah, no one was his friend, and that's why he's sad. Or someone did something mean to him or bullied him, and that's why he's a monster now. And that just takes away all the scariness because it makes him far too human and far too understandable.
Although sometimes that's like the entire like topic. That's what it's all revolving around to begin with. Like with Jeff the Killer, you know, like that creepypasta was
not creepy.
Yeah, I mean it was kind of creepy, but it revolved around him being bullied. You know, like
right.
That was the entirety of it, essentially.
Right. But the reason Jeff the Killer might have been scary to some people, at least. Okay, I mean he's scary for different reasons, but
I feel really attacked here.
Sorry, this is totally new to me that you thought Jeff the Killer was scary.
Dude, everything's scary.
Okay, well, maybe the reason Jeff the Killer was somewhat scary is because you stopped understanding him. So you know why he is the way he is, but all of a sudden he stops being human. He seems to go insane, and he's just this weird creature who attacks and, you know, he kills. So he's not the same. It's more like what happened to Jeff. Now he's just
afraid he was gonna stab me in my sleep.
Well, yeah, but if you knew he was just, you know, a sad, hurting person on the inside, you know, who just wanted friends and all he had to do was be his friend and he probably wouldn't kill you, that'd be one thing. But if you knew that, you know, he has gone insane and he lost himself and that he will actually stab you in your sleep and he's not just a person you can call the cops on, then that makes it much more above you and, you know, you feel more powerless. Yeah. So, but the problem with creepypastas is that, I mean, a lot of them just aren't well written. Like
definitely.
Like there was one called, I think it was like called Cupcakes, and it was about My Little Pony or something. And I was just like, this is, why would anyone write this garbage? No offense to the author, but it was terrible.
There's this one YouTuber that I watch. His name's Brent Daniel, or Brett Daniel, yeah, something like that. He did a video. It was like supposed to be. It was quote unquote a scary video. It was him reading like a really, really crappy pasta.
Probably one I wrote. I did write one time. It was terrible. Geez. It deserved all the hatred it got.
Right, can we get a link for that?
Maybe. Put it in the description if you can. It's terrible. Right, I mean, you're not going to like it.
I'll look for it. But no, he made all the music himself with his mouth. And acapella.
I have to hear this.
It was pretty amazing. It was a great video. I honestly love all this content. It's great stuff. But no, there is like full of grammatical errors. 90% of it didn't make sense. It's just,
which is the thing with these creepypastas. Anyone submits them, and that's why 99% of them are bad.
Yeah.
And they're just not scary.
Like, no offense to people, but like some people who don't like natively speak English seem to be writing some of these, and like, don't get me wrong, like if you can write it in English, go ahead. But like if you're not completely fluent in it, like just write in your own language. Have somebody else, you know, rewrite it for you.
Right.
Like in the language that you want it in. You know.
At least use spell check.
Yeah, like at least use spell check, man.
Yeah. Granted, most of the times I wouldn't know if there's spell check because I just listen to it anyway. But
I mean, there's tons of people online that know like so many different languages. You can just have them spell check for you.
Yeah.
I don't know. That always bothers me because there's all these games and stuff made by these people who like don't natively speak English, and it's like it's a great game aside from, you know, the spelling errors and stuff. Like, and of course there's the times where it's like it's not even like the native English speakers either. Sometimes it's just the just people who aren't exactly the brightest, the best at
writing
their own language.
Those people are out there in massive numbers.
Hey, I mean, like, props to you for trying, man, but like,
I wasn't a good
get
writer.
Some help. No, definitely get us a link to that story though.
There's one point, speaking of grammatical mistakes. I did one on purpose. I don't know why.
One on purpose.
But I wrote,
okay, cool.
I wrote the word now, and I put like a 0 in there instead of... And then someone mentioned in the comments, was like, hey, that was a good idea, okay? It was...
Yeah, that sounds great.
It was really dumb.
Replace all the O's with zeros in the entire thing.
Yeah, it was called... They were like that... Like, someone said in the comments, like, that was the best part of this entire story. The part when you put now with a 0 instead of an O. And I was like, hey, don't be mean, guys. Let me win.
Also that, and, like, you read, like, Creepypasta has gone downhill a lot.
Maybe, I don't know if it's gone down. I will say, when I first started listening to it, I was just terrified. Like, Squidward's suicide was actually scary to me. Because I just couldn't conceive of SpongeBob being so dark. But then, you know, Squidward's suicide is one thing. And then there's, like, Suicide Mouse. And there's, you know, Suicide Sonic or whatever. Sonic EXE. It's like, oh, Sonic is killing himself. Oh, Mario killed himself. Like, it's just a bunch of, like...
Maybe we've just become, what's the word whenever you, desensitized. Maybe we just become desensitized to it all.
Desensitized. And I mean, I think just honestly, like, you know, Mickey Mouse walking around and, you know, the street going up and down in a crazy way is not actually that scary.
Not gonna lie, it kind of scared me.
Yeah, like, I think a lot of it was just, you know, smoke and mirrors, but it really wasn't actually scary. Like, and, you know, there's also the haunted video games where they're like, whenever I was playing the game, I got really scared while I was playing with, you know, Link or Mario, and I saw a mushroom with a creepy face, and I was scared.
And then I punched my game system, and it broke. And then the screen turned on anyway.
And Mario said, I know where you live.
Let them eat cake. Oh, that too. I don't know, man.
Yeah, I'm just like, this is not scary. So that's why I don't listen to Creepypasta anymore, really.
Okay.
But I do listen to, like, you know, I like listening to true stories or stuff that at least claims to be true, because it's not super fantastic, but it still is spooky enough to make you think. And normally there's not, like, an explanation where they don't explain the monster or, you know, the killer. And you're left with the feeling of that could actually happen to me. So...
I mean, didn't they say that the Blair Witch Project was based off of real events?
The Blair Witch Project actually is. It's based on the Bell Witch. And the Bell Witch is, it's actually a haunting now, I believe. I don't know too much about it, so don't quote me on this, but I think there was a witch living in that area, and...
Which witch?
The Bell Witch.
Which?
The Bell Witch.
Alright, this is dumb.
She is the witch, which was the Bell Witch. And anyway, I think she died, but her ghost apparently, or a demon, you know, she was friends with, still haunts the area. And there's actually been quite a bit of activity there, so.
I mean, I dig ghosts. Ghosts are pretty neato. I mean, I would want to go to, like, a haunted house or something.
I'd certainly be curious.
I think I went to, like, a ghost ship one time. Were you there?
No, but I heard about that. That was freaky.
Yeah? Yo, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure whenever we went to... I don't think we were allowed to go into the boiler room, but we went in there anyway. There was, like, some creepy stuff down there. We thought one of the other groups were playing a prank on us, and then they came down from the top of the stairs, and it's like, hey, what are you guys doing here? We thought you were over there. You know, that classic thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was pretty scary. And there was a lot of cases of people thinking they saw things.
Which is iffy, but, you know. Yeah. I guess when it's cumulative like that, then it can...
Like, I saw a lot, like, going through that. I saw somebody walking one way, and then... all the people who were in the area were, like, in that same area, right? Like, who was the person who went that way, you know? Because there was nobody else in the area besides people who were, you know, in the group.
Right.
I don't know. I know the me talking kind of sounds cryptic right now because, like, I'm saying them, there, this, that. It's, like, very undescriptive.
That's exactly right.
Thank you.
Just kidding.
But really quick, we're gonna take a quick, I don't know, 15-minute break.
Oh, is it that time?
It is that time. We'll see you guys in just a little bit. Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your advertisement boy here. I would normally have a sponsor, but I don't know how to go about getting those. So if anybody knows how, please feel free to let me know. Kind of assume they would just be there, but they're not. In other news, I'd like to start out the first recommended music of the week. So basically what I want to do is every week the guest will provide a music that they think is underappreciated and try to populate it a bit more, let more people know about it. And the music of this week is called Wolf Parade, which I looked at it. It's a pretty nifty looking band. They got some interesting stuff. I wasn't too crazy about it, but it wasn't too bad either. So definitely give it a check. Check it out. See what you guys, what's it all about. And other news. I had, let me think, one last thing. Oh yeah, I'm going to be posting this up on my YouTube channel, so for those of you watching this on something else, please, I've been saying a lot in the past. Two minutes. But no, I'm going to be posting this on my YouTube channel. It's known as HyperMallow. That's HyperMallow. Please feel free to check that out if you guys have any of the time. Or if you're watching my YouTube channel right now, please like and subscribe. It'd be much appreciated. Besides that, I don't really think I have anything else for you guys. Again, just thank you to Kid Curl. He really helped me out, letting him use the song at the end. Obviously I could use something else, but he's just got so great music, and I figured it would go perfect for an ending song. So please stay to the end and give that a little bit of a listen too. Alright, thank you guys. Back to you, Josh. Haha. And welcome back, everybody. That was nice, wasn't it? Thank you, past me. Well, other me. I'm gonna be doing this in the future because, procrastination's a B word. Mine of my P's and Q's for the priesty boy over here.
Procrastination is a vice. There you go.
That's a word for it. We were talking about Creepypasta. Excuse me. Creepypasta.
Yes. And the terrors thereof.
The terrors thereof.
Mostly in the realm of grammar and not of horror writing.
Yeah. To be fair, that's a problem with any,
Yeah.
Okay, I also wanted to talk about, you have a skill that you're very, very good at.
If I have...
And that skill is playing Pacman.
I'm okay.
That's really all I had to say.
Yeah, I'm fine at Pacman. It's fun.
It's like, you've beaten like numerous high scores
Well,
Like, if you went up against a pro, you would probably lose.
yeah.
But
I
you
would
wouldn't
lose.
lose by much.
No, I would lose by much. Like, they have patterns that they follow. I don't follow patterns. I just play for fun because I used to try to follow patterns, but I can't remember them, so I don't even try. I have other things I have to memorize.
That's all I wanted to say.
All right, bye. No.
Alright, bye. Have a beautiful time. Ooh, that's a good one. Tell me, does Narwhale Games ring any bells?
Yeah,
Yeah?
it does.
Any comments on that?
Well, that's like, past things we used to do for fun. We would just play the Hunger Games, but for some reason we called it Narwhal in our backyard.
But it was pretty great.
I had fun.
I actually hope to bring that back.
I
I've
would
talked
love
to you
to.
about that before. Kind of like... Okay, so don't get me wrong, right? I had this idea before Smosh had the idea, but exactly what Smosh Games was, essentially. Which I guess technically they stole it from somebody else, who stole it from somebody else. But, something like that.
I don't know what Smosh Games is too much, please.
It's, just chilling out, playing games. Teams, trophy, house, the end.
Okay.
I'm glad you got that. No, I would love to do something like that.
I had a lot of fun, but then other people were like, I'm out of breath. We need to slow down. It's like, what are you doing? We're running from people in the woods.
There was the summer and the winter Narwhal Games, right?
The Winter Narwhal Games didn't even happen because it was too cold.
No, it happened. It was because I remember being out there in the cold. And I remember coming in because it was cold.
Yeah. I remember that too, actually. Well,
yeah.
I
Was
don't
that
know.
it was your
My mom's house.
yeah, your mom's house.
I barely remember going out there. Maybe we did. Maybe
Yeah.
some people did, is what it was. And then other people were like, I want to stay in because it's cold.
I think we kind of took breaks. Because I think I was out there like a quarter of the time that everybody else was.
I don't even remember being out there that long.
don't
I
know.
actually don't even remember being out there.
So I think I was like sick around that time too. So
That'll do it. The summer one, that was fun though.
didn't I get stuck in barbed wire?
I can't remember if that was summer or... Were you on my team?
I don't know.
I remember my dog came with us, and he was just making noise and like going around everywhere, and it was kind of weird that he followed us. And yeah,
It was pretty fun.
it was fun.
But we'll do that. We'll do that again later. We'll whenever I'm super popular and famous and stuff, and I have like billions and trillions of dollars, we'll get that taken care of.
Sure, we will.
Yeah, it'll happen. I'll get it all for my podcast.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, Patreon. It's a good thing. It's a patronage thing.
Yeah, under the
Yeah.
patronage of Saint Patreon.
Yeah, exactly.
Saint Patreon of Rome. Or
So
Greece.
what you're gonna want to do is you're gonna want to go on Patreon and donate like, I don't know, like $5, right?
At least.
Yeah, like if you're feeling,
$20 is the new $5.
yeah, $20 is the new $5. So says the priest.
Wink.
Oh yeah.
Not a priest.
The Maine trip.
The Maine trip, yes.
Oh,
That'd be interesting to have that universe collide with Narwhal Games.
Oh no. But yes. But also no. Oh, I have some beef with Greyhound. I have a big beef with Greyhound.
Yeah, I bet. It's like you went to the deli or something and got a lot of extra beef. And then left it on a bus. And then it never came back to you for years.
Oh my goodness.
Are you going to tell the story?
No.
Okay.
No, I'm just joking. We should probably start out with, more pressing details.
Of the story?
Yeah, just the whole main
The
trip.
background. Yeah, well, my
whole
grandparents own a lodge called Katahdin Lodge. You should go there if you're up in northern Maine in the middle of nowhere and you need somewhere to stay.
Not sponsored, but
You should.
yeah.
Yeah. They'll take care of you. Anyway, so we went there. We went there and we decided to just chill out because it's a great place for vacations. There's like waterfalls nearby. There's a lake which we paddled across and camped on.
Yeah.
But to get there,
Oh, that was terrible. That was amazing, but it was terrible.
it was pretty spooky looking
There
down.
was one flashlight?
We had two, because I remember we were flashing across the water.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Well, still,
but I remember it was just like we were canoeing across.
it was pitch black out.
There was not a moon. There was only. There was not a moon.
The lake was black.
Like when
Like
you look down,
pitch
it was like
black.
an abyss of nothingness.
Yeah, like you fall in, you're done.
Yeah, that's it. Because you're not gonna know where up is even. Anyway.
No, it's like an avalanche. You just have to spit and you're fine. Your spit always goes down, right?
That's true.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, we.
Oh yeah, and the cabin. What did the cabin have? There was like just a bunch of skulls.
Honestly, it's kind of terrifying looking back on
Yeah.
it. I can't believe we did it.
No, it was terrifying doing it.
It was actually kind of terrifying. Oh yeah, so we paddled across, and look, this was someone else's property, okay? But we weren't gonna do anything. We weren't gonna hurt them. We weren't gonna take their stuff. We just wanted to purely camp there. I think we even made our own fire pit. Is that right, or did we use theirs? I don't know, but we didn't take any of their stuff. We didn't steal.
Nick burned some of his diary or journal pages.
Nick did what? His own?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. I thought you meant like the guys who lived there or whatever.
No, he burned some of his own
Okay.
pages as a sacrifice to get the fire going.
When you burn your own feelings in order to. I wouldn't burn any of my journal now, let me tell you. Anyway, but yeah, so we were, paddling, and when we set up our camp, like my brother is not like an outdoors kind of guy, but he took initiative that night, and I was proud. Like, he was like, come on, get the spruce leaves, and we can use extra kindling, and I was like, whoa, I didn't know you were, that into this, but he was. So we did it, and it was a lot of fun. Anyway, so we
I got the sticks.
Yes, Josh got the sticks. We stayed up till 2 o'clock at night, and we were looking at the stars, because the stars did eventually show up when the clouds went away, and we could see so many of them. So then we went to the tent to go to bed. So anyway, I wake up in the morning, and I hear walking outside, all around our tents, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's a horror movie. What's happening?
We were gonna die.
Yeah, I was convinced we were gonna die. And I forgot who I was in the tent with, but I know Nick was in there. Nick is one of our friends, and
It was a big tent.
yeah, it was a pretty
It was
big
all
tent.
of us.
Was it all of us?
Yeah, it was all of us.
Actually, I guess Nick, Aaron, you.
Me.
That was it, right? And
Zach.
then Zach. Yeah. Okay. Maybe it was all of us. Anyway, so we're in there, and I wake up, and I hear something walking around, and I see Nick, and Nick shows me his phone, and he has his notepad open, and he says, "Someone's out there," and I'm like, "Of course, of course," and I swear it did not sound like anyone I knew. So they're walking around, and they walk around for like, I don't know, it must have been 10 minutes. And Nick and I are panicking, like, what the heck?
I
So-
think I woke up like after you guys started panicking.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're panicking very silently, like,
Yeah.
You couldn't hear it because it was silent.
I'm
But-
like, hey, what's up?
And I was like, Josh, be quiet, there's someone out there. And so, this walking continues, and then it gets really close to the door of the tent, and I'm like, oh boy, here it goes. I was like, I was running over my head, what do we do? How do we explain this? And I was going to say basically what I said at the beginning. Look, we're not here to steal your stuff. We were just camping, okay? We had no intention of, messing with your house, just pure camp. And so then the door slowly starts to zip open. Nick has his pocket knife ready. I have my explaining ready, and all of a sudden, the head of Zach, my brother, peeks in, and he says, "Guys, there is something out there." And I'm like, "Yeah, of course there's something out there. It's called you." So I was a little bit mad, but not that mad, because it was really funny.
Didn't, like, early on it kind of sounded like a bear?
I was afraid it was a bear, because I'm terrified of bears.
No, man. I've always wanted to either fight or ride a bear.
I don't think you want to really fight a bear.
I mean, I would probably die, but it's on my bucket list.
You would die if you were fighting a bear.
I also have the same thing, but with an alligator/crocodile.
Pretty sure you'd die there, too.
Yeah.
You just kind of die. That'd be like the last thing you put on your bucket list.
I mean, I feel like the last thing on my bucket list was, I don't know, actually. I have some pretty hard stuff on my bucket list. Like, convincing somebody that they're from the future.
That sounds fun. But that can't be the last thing, because...
No, that wasn't the last thing. I just can't remember them right now.
Well, you would die with the bear and alligator, so... Or likely die.
Well, I would have to not die for one of them to get the other one.
I don't know which one's better, honestly. Like, are you saying fight a bear and win? Or just fight a bear?
No, just fight a bear. I don't have to win.
Like, so all you have to do is punch it once, right? For it to count.
I don't know, yeah, I guess.
And then you have to let it kind of swipe at you, and you at least have to die.
I'm preferential on the riding part instead of the fighting part. But if the fighting thing should come up, I would,
I'm not sure which one would be. I think riding an alligator would be easier.
It'd be like in those video games. You just step on its back. As long as you're not stepping on the mouth, you don't die.
Sure. Assuming the back always remains at a constant.
Yeah, that's how it works in the video games.
Well, we'll see how that goes.
But
yeah, Greyhound. So that was how we got up there.
Yeah, we got up there using Greyhound.
Because everything else was expensive.
I forget, what was your experience like sitting on the Greyhound bus? Because whenever we first got on there, we were all separated.
Yeah, this guy with like a helmet came and sat next to me. And I said, "Hey, my name is Ben." And he looked at me and went, he just nodded. And then, that was it. It was like he wanted nothing to do with me.
It didn't sound too bad.
I mean, what are you going to do? And Nick was like imagining like, we would have some guy who'd be like Morgan Freeman, and he would teach us something really important about life on the bus. And we actually did have some moments like that.
Yeah, there were
I
some
think we
cool
were the
people.
Morgan Freemans.
Oh, I hate that. I hate that.
That it was us?
No, I just hate that comparison.
I don't yeah, like, we're not old, so.
I just hate it in general. Anyway, whenever I first got on, I got to sit next to, some lady, who was fairly, skinny. And I bring that up because it's important. I'm sitting on the seat. She asks if, she can use my phone, right? I downloaded a bunch of games and stuff on it, so that way we could play whenever we get to Maine. I'm like, yeah, sure, use my phone. It's okay. Whatever, I don't care. I give her my phone. I look back at her like a couple minutes later. She's deleted a bunch of my apps and installed Facebook Messenger. Like, without saying anything to me. It's like...
You can't do that.
So just that already. She was on it for like an hour, 2 hours. After she was done with that, she went to sleep. And when I say she went to sleep, she curled up on her seat and half of my seat and pushed me, halfway off of my own seat. So that way half of me was in the aisle. And that was the entire ride.
I never heard that story.
Until we got into the next bus. Which was, what, New York we got off?
Oh, well, I'm pretty sure it was sooner. Virginia, maybe? I don't know.
Was it Virginia?
I don't think it went all the way to...
It felt like a while,
It was a long time.
to say the least.
We had some stops. I don't remember when we got on to the next bus, though.
I think Virginia was just the,
Maybe it was New York. I'm not sure.
I don't know. Either way, it was pretty awful.
Yeah, it was cramped.
But also we met this cool guy. I got his Steam. He hasn't been on in like 2 years, so it's kind of pointless. But he was pretty cool. I think he said he went to like every state, and then he was going to Germany or something to teach. He was pretty cool.
Was he one that we all talked to? Or
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, was his name? Well, I guess we shouldn't say his name, should we?
I think it was like Drew.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah.
Yeah. And then there was another cool guy who was using like modeling clay, like on the bus. It was pretty neat. It was pretty cool though, right?
I don't remember that.
You don't remember that?
Yeah.
Maybe I just.
Are you sure that was a guy?
Next to him. Yeah.
Okay.
What were you saying? It was.
I thought there were.
It was a ghost.
No. No, this would be one of those. I thought there was like this.
There was nobody there.
Yeah, sure. That's what I was saying.
And we met a couple other cool people, but
yeah, there was this one girl, and I remember she was like. Actually, this was before I was in seminary, but she heard I was going to enter seminary. She's like, "Oh yeah, you're going to date a girl for once, and then all of a sudden you're just going to forget all about seminary." I'm like, "Yeah, okay." And then we got into a big long discussion. It was actually a good discussion, but yeah.
So we get off the bus to Maine. Nothing really significantly bad happened on the bus. We get back on the bus after the trip's over. We go, to New York. We actually stayed in New York for a little bit just to chill out, and we got a different bus.
We tried the pizza.
Yeah,
it is as good as they say.
Super expensive though.
It was expensive. It was like tourist pizza, but it was good.
Yeah. Like I would go again, but I would only buy like one slice.
Right.
All the gift shops were super just shifty.
Yeah.
It's like half of it seemed like it was shoddily made in a basement, and the other half looked like it was bought from somewhere else for a whole lot cheaper than they were selling it for.
Pretty much. And then my favorite part of all, so we would be like lost in the bus, area.
Oh
and
my
then
god,
someone would be
dude.
like, "Oh hey, I'll show you the way." I'd be like, "Whoa, what a nice citizen." And they'd be like, "Yeah, it's right over here. Now, can I have a tip?"
Yeah,
And I'd be like, "A tip for pointing me in the right direction? You want a tip?" Like, "Yeah, come on, man." I'd be like, "A tip?" Like, I'm a generous... I try to be generous, at least. Sometimes it's hard, but... it was really hard then, because I'm like, all you did was point me in the right direction. Why do you need a tip?
Exactly. And there were people who did less and asked for more.
Yeah, I would hate it when they're like, "Oh, come on, you got more than that." I'd be like,
Yeah.
Not for you.
There were a lot of people begging for money and stuff.
Yeah, I understand. It's hard. You got to live out there, but I don't know. I'd rather someone just be upfront and be like, "Hey, look, I need help," than, "Yeah, I'll point you in the right direction. Okay, tip."
There were people in wearing like Disney outfits and stuff, and they were like, "Yeah, give me your money."
Oh, like the Donald Duck. I have a
Yeah,
picture of
you
that.
remember that, right?
Did he ask for money?
Yeah.
I didn't remember that, but that's funny.
This is like, "Oh, take my picture. Okay, now you need to give me money for the picture."
Like, "Oh, I don't care about the picture anymore."
I'll just go to Disneyland, mate.
That's when you just take your phone out, then run away.
Yeah. It's not illegal to take pictures.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, Not of someone in a costume.
Yeah,
You can't tell
no.
who they are.
Exactly. It's a confidentiality thing. But we get back home from the bus. I go to get my bag. And guess what ain't there? Go and guess.
Your bag?
Yeah, that's right. Ben, good job. You're so smart. Wow. And it's not like I did anything odd, right? I put my bag with the other bags. I put my bag right next to yours, actually. So, why would there be any problem?
I don't know.
Why would my bag not be there?
That's a good question.
I constantly called them, be like, "Hey, where's my bag?" Cause listen, this was a duffel bag. This was a big bag. I had tons.
It wasn't
of
a small
clothes.
little thing.
I had my class ring in there. Yeah. That was like what, $200-300? That was like the most I've ever spent on anything, which technically was my mom who bought it. Thanks, Mom. And if you go on Patreon, you can help me and my mom afford that class ring. But speaking of which, me and Nick, another guy who was there, I was holding his pillow in my duffel bag as well. Or his pillow in my duffel bag. Yeah, I said that. Okay. So they call me maybe like a month or 2 months after this all goes down, and it's like, "Hey, we have your bag. Come get it before we send it to California." Or was it like Texas or something? I'm like, "What? Why would you send it to Texas?" So I go down there, ask for my bag, and they're like, "Yeah, sorry, it's not here."
Down there. So you mean to the station in Raleigh?
Yeah, where they said that
Okay.
it was. And they're like, "Yeah, it's not here." I'm like, "What do you mean it's not here?
But on
you
the
just
phone.
You just said it was here." "Yeah, we probably already shipped it over to Texas." So, about 6 months after this all goes down, you know, me constantly calling them, asking, "Hey, where's my stuff? Where's my stuff? Can I get my stuff now?" 6 months later, they call me. It's like, "Hey, your bag's up at our station. Come down and get it before we send it out again."
Again.
So, me and my mom go down there and go like, "Hey, I need my bag. You said that you had it here." You know, they go back there for like half a minute. They're like, "Yeah, sorry, it's not here." Yeah, right? So, I'm like, what? I don't remember exactly what happened, but I got angry, my mom got angry, there was a bit of yelling. We told them to go back there and check it again, you know, like... She goes back there and it's like, "Oh yeah, it's here." It's like, cool. Thank
Thanks
you.
for trying.
Thanks so much. And the worst part was, whenever I would call them, they would either A, have no idea what they were doing, B, be incredibly rude and up their own butts, or C, both.
Sponsored by Greyhound.
I would rather burn myself to the ground.
Than work with Greyhound.
Yeah. Any other sponsors, like, I'm totally in, you know? Even Delta Airlines. Was that the company that did the whole drama thing? That was, I'm thinking of the right thing, right?
Drama?
Yeah. You know, where they kicked the dude off the airplane.
Why did they kick him off?
I don't remember. It was like, I think it was Delta Airplanes or Airlines or whatever. They like overbooked the plane. They're like, "Hey, we need somebody to get off," and he was like, "No, I can't get off." And they're like, "Get off," and then they like beat him up or something.
Basically, that happened to me when I took the airplane. Except they just said, "Can you move to the back, please?" And I said, "Sure." But my story didn't get in the newspaper, so. Anyway.
It was close.
Pretty much the same thing.
Yeah.
It was in Maine, so, you know, it doesn't...
Yeah.
The airport in Maine is nice. It's not scary, unlike the airport in Raleigh. Or...
Well, I think Raleigh's airport is one of the most popular airports in America.
Really?
Yeah, surprising enough. Like, you would think North Carolina, that's not a very important place.
I mean, it's not on the top 10.
No, but big airport? Sure, yeah, let's put that here.
Well, we got the RDU Research Triangle.
But no, Greyhound sucks, the end.
Yeah. So they're not gonna they're not gonna sponsor us, I don't think.
No, I don't think so.
No.
Worked
When
up
did you...
a little bit.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Makes me angry. What were you saying?
Oh, nothing.
No?
No, I was gonna ask something, but I realized it was answered. So.
Oh, you remember when you guys got the leeches?
Well, okay. There's been a few times where that's happened.
At the waterfall in Maine.
Did I get a leech, or was it? Who was it?
I know. I think Nick and Aaron did.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I think I remember that.
Because there was a waterfall, right? And some water and a whole bunch of stuff.
And it was falling.
Yeah, and they were like, "Hey, let's go swim in there." Because that's a good idea.
And it is generally a good idea.
So I'm like, that doesn't sound like a great idea. So I took my socks and shoes off and just kind of dipped my toes into the water.
You had jeans on and a flannel.
Yeah, so
That was your
that's my normal attire.
your swim trunks.
Yeah, that's my normal attire. That's what I wear when I go swimming.
Okay. Anyway.
So nothing happened to me, obviously. We get back after swimming around, and those two start freaking out. It's like, I got leeches.
Yeah, those leeches.
Yeah.
You don't always realize until they start getting big.
Yeah. Wait, what?
Because they suck your blood.
Wait, do they start out small?
Yeah.
Really?
They're skinny little creatures.
Ew. Is that why you never know whenever they're in the water?
Well, so you can see them, but they're harder to see. You don't really feel them much, I don't think.
There's like a little,
I don't know if I've ever had one, honestly.
No, I don't think I have either.
But my brother has.
Ew.
Yeah, good times.
Mm-hmm. Very nice. It was the best around. And nobody's gonna get me down.
Yeah.
Ooh. Oh, I did forget about a segment that we usually do.
Yeah.
Anomalies. That was what we were supposed to come back into. And ironically enough, I wanted to make sure I asked you one thing in specific.
Okay.
Actually, two things, honestly.
Okay.
As a priest, or a priest in training more so, do you do any demon hunting or exorcisms or the like? Also, what are your thoughts on other gods, such as Greek gods like Zeus and stuff like that?
Perhaps I should answer the second question first.
I hate it.
Okay. Sorry. My personal opinion on the Greek. Okay, first off, the church's, belief on other gods. There's only one God, the Holy Trinity, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Other than that, there is no other God, strictly speaking. There are times in Scripture where, people might be referred to as Elohim is the Hebrew word, and that means mighty ones, and that's also normally translated as God. or like a god. It could be like a lowercase g. But, you know, the Greek gods and whatnot, I mean, they were bad medicine. A lot of the ways you would worship them would be like drunken orgies, or, you know,
I mean, what?
Or there might be like, in other religions, like Canaanite religion, there'd be child sacrifice. So.
Heck yeah. I mean, what?
All right, watch out there. Anyway, Aztec gods also had a lot of child and human sacrifice. So, you know, we don't really look super highly on them because, you know, they're kind of bad. And they're not real anyway. And people often just end up, you know, worshiping some rock picture of a snake or, you know, Zeus or whatever. And, you know, there's nothing they can do to save you anyway. So there's no reason to pay any attention to them. They're not real. And if they are, you know, it's probably more something demonic if it's saying, you know, commit human sacrifice. That's not just, I don't know if humans would naturally come up with that. I mean, maybe there is a way they could, but, you know, humans can be pretty messed up in and of themselves. But, yeah, you know, I just wouldn't doubt that, you know, if anything did appear to someone and said commit a human sacrifice, I would generally think that's a demon. So, yeah, so, you know, and I think that, you know, that's one of the things that the scripture says, that the gods of the Gentiles are demons or devils. So, yeah. And then when it comes to, you know, demon hunting or exorcism, I wouldn't use the word demon hunting because we don't go out and, like, look for demons. You know, and first off, one thing about demons, they act in our everyday life normally in a different way than we see in the movies. You know, the first way they act is they, you know, tempt you to sin and to do bad things. They can mess with your memory and bring up memories.
So this is the end is not accurate. So this is the end is not accurate.
I don't remember too much about that movie.
The part where Jonah gets possessed by a demon.
Well, you can get possessed by demons. And I'll get into that. But it starts off with
It's a very interesting scene.
I don't remember what happens, but
it's a very interesting scene.
Anyway, so the way they act normally is you know, they just try to, you know, there's many people have like these thoughts and they don't know where they come from, and it might be like, you know, all of a sudden they just have a really discouraging thought. You know, like, man, you can't do anything right, you know, look at how messed up you are.
Oh, yeah, dude, I feel that so much.
Probably a demon.
Yeah, probably.
And they like to bring that stuff up on you because it makes you hopeless and it makes you despair and it takes you further away from God.
Angels on them, I already have no hope.
Yeah, they want you to believe that, but that's not true. Because everyone has hope. You know, especially if they repent and turn to God with full hearts. And angels will do, you know, the same thing, but the opposite. Like, if you ever had a thought, I should really do this, and you just don't know why, it very well could be an angel. And often it's telepathic. They don't use words like we do. If they do, it's more like to mimic us so we can understand, but they communicate with concepts and images. But when it comes to, you know, demonic possession, which can happen, that's when someone gives explicit permission to, you know, a demon to harass them. And there's different levels. There's actually before that, there's like oppression, which is where a demon might be, you know, it's not possessing them, but it's, you know, harassing them or, you know, appearing to them or spooking them, you know, giving them these terrible thoughts in, you know, great amounts. They might have hallucinations from the demon. There's infestation, where it haunts the house. And then there's possession, which is the worst of them all, which is where, you know, a demon is controlling someone's body. They can't control your will. They can't make you actually want to do something bad. But they can, you know, basically invade and usurp the body and mess with it. And that's how, and, you know, exorcists basically have you know, they learn that, you know, they can tell when someone's possessed by several signs, but one is like a person might be a normal person. They might speak a language like ancient Sumerian. There's no way they can know that naturally.
I know that language.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How do you say bat?
Bate.
Wrong.
El bat.
Wrong.
Bonjour.
Actually, I can't remember for sure, but I'm pretty sure it's Sampa. Anyway.
Bonjour, officer.
Yeah, no. They would say, yeah, this guy's just crazy. He doesn't actually speak any other languages. Seminarians, though, like, I'm only in my first few years of philosophy, so I don't have anything to do with, exorcisms as of now. Normally, most priests don't do exorcisms. An exorcism is a very specific prayer, but there's also deliverance prayers, which is just where you basically ask for, your house or yourself to be delivered from any power of the devil, and that the devil be pushed away. And anyone can do that. And you just pray something simple like, if there's any demon attacking me, I bind it in the name of Jesus and send it to the foot of the cross to be judged. Something like that. That's a really simple prayer that anyone can do. You don't need a priest to do it. We did have a class on spiritual theology, and we talked a little bit about demons and how to deal with them, and spiritual warfare. We also, I think, in theology, I'm only in philosophy right now, so anything I take in regards to theology is mostly an elective. But I think the deacons have a class where they study demonology and angelology, which is the study of demons and angels. And there has been an increasing understanding in the church that we need to have more training in regards to possession, because more and more people are getting possessed as more and more people turn into a life of sin. Yeah. So yeah, that's some basic stuff on exorcisms.
Definitely not as exciting of an answer as I thought it would be, but...
Well, you want there to be a lot of... People want it to be like the movies, but we don't...
Stab the demons.
Yeah. One thing, I used to watch a show called Supernatural, and, it can be kind of entertaining sometimes, but it's just...
Everybody knows Supernatural.
Yeah, it's just not accurate, though. Like, there's so much that's, like, off.
Would you call it supernatural?
I'd call it super off point. But yeah, it's supposed to be a show, but people take it seriously. There were some shows that were better. Like, there was one movie called The Rite, and that was a movie about a deacon who was also an exorcist. I don't know if that's totally accurate, but, it made sense, and what happened in the movie was possible. Demons can cause people to, from what I've heard, they can cause people to morph in a certain sense, which means that a demon creates an illusion making you think that they look like some sort of basically some sort of alternative appearance, like their eyes might change color, or a demon might cause, someone to look more similar to an animal or something. Not like in their face, not so much their entire body. But, yeah, they can. It's very rare. I've heard that levitation occurs, but that can happen. And of course, enormous strength is a big one. That's another sign. Like, if this person is not strong enough to throw a couch across the living room, but they're doing it, they're probably having help from something else. So, yeah, the chief exorcist of the Vatican, or former chief exorcist, Father Gabriel Amorth, wrote about this in his book, An Exorcist Explained, which is a great book to read if you want to know more about possession and what exorcists do. But yeah.
Neat. So, I'd like to ask you about the zombie apocalypse. Because everybody loves the zombie apocalypse.
Everybody loves the zombie.
Everybody loves the zombie apocalypse. And I, for one, can't wait. I'd like to know, what is your weapon of choice?
That's a good question.
What is your location of choice? And 3 people that you would have on your zombie team.
Okay, my location of choice would be actually my own seminary. I'll tell you why. It's a great place to hide from zombies. So we have a fence all the way around the entire campus. And in the front, there's like spikes on the fence. It's like a gothic kind of fence. So if the zombie was... We've had like deer try to jump over that fence and they impale themselves. It's pretty bad. And then we have Scrapple the next day and we kind of wonder where it comes from. But anyway, I'm just kidding. But yeah, a zombie, if they were trying to climb over that, they would probably hurt themselves and not be able to get over. And then the building itself is made of stone. So the doors are really heavy, so if we were to lock them, it'd be harder for the zombies to get in. They would have to find a way to get in through the windows. Even after that, the zombies would have to come all the way up the stairs and into the dorms. Now, the dorms aren't the best place to hide because there's 2 places you could get caught. But there's other places upstairs. There's enough exits to escape, and there's enough rooms to hide in. And the rooms often have 2 doors. So I think that the seminary where I go would be, or where I was going, St. Charles in Philadelphia, would be the best place to hide from during a zombie apocalypse. The only downside to it is that it's a city. So there are more people there.
Yeah.
But maybe an alternative place would be the lodge we were talking about earlier, because that's in the wilderness and that has a lot of the same benefits, but it's in the middle of nowhere, so the zombies would just never find us. Weapon of choice, that's a harder one. I mean, I guess it would be a gun, but I don't know what kind of gun specifically. Probably something that can, probably something semi-automatic or something. And what other questions? Who would I take?
Yeah,
3 people.
Could be anybody. No limits.
Well, I would care very much about having a priest. And there is a priest at our seminary who also was involved in the military beforehand, so he would know how to use weapons. And, he also is somewhat fit, so he could probably survive pretty well. And who else would I bring? I'd probably just bring, someone who knows how to hunt well and survive, live off the land. So I have a few friends there who know how to do that. I have a few friends, but it would be someone like that who knows how to survive in the wild. I already mentioned the priest who, was involved in the military before. And then lastly, I would pick someone fast who can run. I don't know if specific people. I don't know. Maybe there's an Olympic runner out there who can run really fast.
Usain Bolt?
Sure. Yeah. I don't know the guy. I don't know if I'd get along with him well or not, but if he can run, we'll have to get along. So he'll be on my team.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, that just about wraps this up. I'd like to thank you very much for coming today.
Thank you for having me.
Indeed. It was a very pleasure talking to you.
Yeah, likewise. A very pleasure.
A very pleasure. It's been a very pleasure. So I know some people might be interested. Where can they find you?
Well, we have my church has a satellite YouTube channel called Catholic NCTV. I'm featured in a few videos there. So that's Catholic NCTV. That's a YouTube channel. And then there's also my Instagram account is, I don't do much on there, but, if you want to follow me, you can. That's Ben Skywatcher. No caps, no spaces. So yeah, those are the places. And then currently I'll be studying at next year when the school year begins. God willing, if we're not still hiding from the big Rona. I'll be studying at Catholic University. I'll be studying at Catholic University and a theological college in Washington, D.C., right near the National Shrine of the Immaculate Conception. So yeah, those are, that's kind of what I got going on where I am. So yeah.
Very cool. God, yeah. Thank you guys so much for listening in with us. And I will see you guys in the next episode. Peace.